Hi guys, so in today's video we're going to show you how to make the donut toppers. You can either use the air dry clay or the polymer clay, which has to be baked in the oven. Today we're going to use the polymer clay. These have already been baked, and we will add the icing to these today, and then I'll show you how to roll out and do the clay. You would do the same thing with the air dry clay. The only difference is this will have to be air dried, and then you will have to paint it like I did with this one. I used some alcohol ink because the air dry clay is white. So that's what I like about the polymer clay, is that it has the color that you can use, or it matches as a donut, I guess. It has the color of a donut. So you're going to peel some off, and you're going to start kneading it, massaging it, balling it up, loosening it up. So it does feel stiff, but it'll loosen up. I like to roll it in a ball first, once it's starting to get loose. So this is one way. After you roll it in the ball, you can just kind of roll it with your fingers. Paying more attention to putting like this with your fingers in the middle to make the hole. And then once it's like to the shape of your liking, then you can either push this down like so, and you can leave it like that. Okay? And then it'll have like the bottom layer, and then you can always put it on your topper, and it will lay, you know, flat, or if you want it on the side. So as you can see, this one has the hole straight through it, and then this bottom one doesn't. So, and the same for this. This bottom one is like this, and this one you have straight through it. And this is to prevent like the UV epoxy, you know, seeping through and making a mess, basically. So that's one way. And then if you want it out, take something and, you know, go like that. And then you have your hole. And then you just either remove or smooth out the excess. This will smooth. One thing about this clay is that it doesn't really show like the fingerprints. So you can smooth it out, or you can just, you know, remove it. That is totally up to you. And then you can bake this one, or if you're using the air dry clay, then you will let it air dry until it's hardened, like that. But I'm gonna also show you the other way that I do it. It just depends on your personal preference. But I will go like this, rub it out a little bit more. And then you're rubbing it. And then once you get it to your liking, or how big you want your donut, then you will connect the two like this. And then the same way, only difference is you're just putting your finger in there, not necessarily doing it like how we were holding it before. And you'll roll it around like that. With this, I find it easier to make your donut look like it's bitten into, and you can just go like that. Kind of like make an impression. And then take some off. Make sure you're keeping the form still. And then you can smooth this out. So making them look bitten into takes a little bit more time, as you can see. So it's better to use the parchment paper to put them on because they won't stick. Okay, so we're back and we have formed it for it to look like it's bit out of. This still does need to bake. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's gonna do its own thing when it's baking anyway, and then once you put the icing on it and the sprinkles of your choosing, it will look good. So we're gonna set this one to the side so that I can bake. So now for the icing, you're gonna take UV glitter. You can also do this with puffy paint. It's just a preference. This was done with puffy paint. So it just kind of just depends on what you want to use. I like the UV, so like the UV glitter, obviously it cures with the UV light, and voila, it's done. The puffy paint, it does need to sit and dry, which takes a little bit more time. So you're gonna take the UV resin and paint. You can also use alcohol ink. I would just probably put white in it so it could just make it thicker instead of transparent. And less is more because you can always add more. You can't take away, but you can always add. So that consistency, I want it a little bit thicker. So you're gonna stir it until you get to the consistency that you want. And you just start putting it on and it will start to flow. Now, one thing is with the UV resin is if it's flowing too much for you, you can always take it and give it a flash cure. Make sure you just move that out the way so then it can stop the dripping. I know I pressed 120 seconds. It really doesn't take that long. You could probably just do it for the 30, even at that. So now we're turning that off. You want it to flow, so have it flow how you want. Just put it on there. And with the UV resin, you don't have to worry about it curing on you and getting thick and, you know, like the regular epoxy, or regular epoxy, how I have a time frame. With this, you can just keep working until you like it. You can use how much or how less of the icing you want. So that's the good thing. But each has its plus and minuses. Like if you want to just, like the puffy paint, it already has the thicker consistency, so you don't have to keep mixing. So that can be, an added benefit for that. And that's a good thing about using the parchment paper, is when you make messes, okay. Now we're gonna just slide her on in there. Now while this is curing, you could start mixing your other colors, but I wouldn't recommend it because they'll be in the UV light, and it very well could, or very well would, cure. So we're not going to cure that for the full time. I'm going to add some sprinkles. Now depending on where this is at, and this is still soft, touchable but still soft, you can put your sprinkles on. You can put them on how you want to put them on. And put them on one by one. You can sprinkle them. It's your project, you create. That's the great thing about creating, is everyone creates differently. And not one is going to be the same, even if you just use the same, Because even with these, they're slightly different, so. That's how you do it. I'll make the next batch off camera, but then you can always put them on there on your topper. If you don't want it to be removable, then you just put it on there. But make sure you're sealing it good with the epoxy so the water doesn't get in, or you can put it and make it removable. Totally up to you. I prefer removable toppers. They can be a little bit more expensive because of the magnets, but it makes it easier to clean. So it just, depends on how you want to do your donuts. And there you have it. Thank you for watching.